Hello everyone, welcome back. We are talking about Chapter 5, Lesson 1, the coordinate plane. And let's just start off with some vocabulary. This is a lesson that is filled with new vocabulary words, so let's go over them. A coordinate plane is a plane containing a horizontal number line called the x-axis. Okay, so this picture over here, this is what a coordinate plane is, and there's a lot of stuff on it right now, and we're going to go over all of it. So the first thing, the whole thing as a whole is called the coordinate plane. The coordinate plane is called an x-axis. It's horizontal. So the horizontal number line right here, this is referred to as the x-axis. Okay, and if you can see, it starts here at 0. It's just like a normal number line, right? The positive numbers are here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the negative numbers are here, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Now, our coordinate plane stops at +5 and -5, but that arrow means it keeps going on and on forever. So we could extend this, and we would have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or -6, -7, -8, -9, all that type of stuff. So, don't just think that it's isolatory. It goes on and on infinitely in both directions. So this is the x-axis. That's one component of the coordinate plane. Another component of the coordinate plane is called the vertical number line, and that's called the y-axis. So it's the same idea as the x-axis. It's just going up and down. And if you see here, this is where 0 is. And then it goes up. So +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. And then the negative numbers go down here. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And it's vertical going up and down. And this is y, and it's called the y-axis right there. Okay, so the coordinate plane has an x-axis, which is just a horizontal number line, and a vertical axis, which is called the y-axis. So if you notice that both of these axes, the x-axis and the y-axis, they intersect at what's called the origin, okay? And that's where, right here, where they both intersect. That is the origin, okay? Right there. Where the x-axis intersects the y-axis, that's called the origin. Okay. Now, something else, the axes divide the coordinate plane into 4 regions called quadrants. Quadrants. So if you look here, this is quadrant 1. Okay, and you start here with quadrant 1. See, there's 4 quadrants, quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. And that's basically it. So anything in this realm here, any point, this is quadrant 1. Any point over here would be quadrant 2. Anything over in here would be quadrant 2. Anything here in this quadrant, any point would be quadrant 3. And then any point in this quadrant would be quadrant 4. So quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? 4 quadrants. So let's go ahead and look at some example problems and see how these examples work. So we're going to start with example 1. It says identifying quadrants on the coordinate plane. Okay, so we're going to identify the quadrant that contains each point. So let's look at S. S is right here. Okay, it is in this quadrant. So we want to, does anybody remember what quadrant that would be? If we go back and we look, this is quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4, and S was over here, so it would be in quadrant 4. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So S is in quadrant 4. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at T. T is right here in this quadrant, and that was in the first quadrant, if you remember right there, quadrant 1. So this is in quadrant 1. Okay, and then we have W, which is this point right there. Now, what quadrant is that in? This one is a little tricky because it's right here on the y-axis. So what we're going to say is that W is on the y-axis and is between, which quadrants would W be between? So W is right up here. It's between quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. So W is on the y-axis and is between quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. So there we go. Now it is your turn. I want you to go ahead and check it out. So example 1, where's my friend the pause ring? Oh, there they are. So I want you to do A, B, and C. Identify the quadrant. When you get done, go ahead and press play. So go ahead, press pause, work out A, B, and C. When you get done, press play, and we'll see how you did. All right, see you in a bit. See you in a bit. Okay, we're back. Let's go ahead and identify the quadrants that contain each point. So we have A, N, and I'm just going to write the quadrant. So this is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So N is right here, and that is in quadrant 2. So if you put quadrant 2, great job. Okay, X, let's go ahead and look at X. X is right here, and X is in quadrant 1, 2, 3. So the correct answer would be quadrant 3. And then there's Y. Now Y is a little tricky. It's right there. Do you remember what that word is? Right there where the X and the Y axes meet. That is called the origin, and that's where Y is. It is in the origin, so we just say Y is in the origin. That one's a little tricky. So if you got all those right, great job. Perfect. Let's go on to the next couple vocabulary words that we're going to talk about. So 5-1, we're talking about the coordinate plane. So if we're going to, we talked about the quadrants, which is great. Now we're going to talk about points on a coordinate plane are identified as ordered pairs. And I like this word, this vocabulary term because it really tells you like what it is. Ordered means things are in order, right? And there's going to be an order. Pairs means there's two things. So we're going to be talking about two things that have an order to them, okay? So what this says is an ordered pair consists of two. Right, there's our pair, so there's our pair, two numbers in a certain order, right? The origin is the point 0, 0. Okay, that's just a little fun fact for you. And I'm going to come back to that little piece in a second. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. So let's go ahead and put that on pause. And let's talk about what an ordered pair is. So an ordered pair is two things right here. So this is an example of an ordered pair. 3, 2. Now it has an x coordinate here, which is 3. Okay? And it has a y coordinate, which is 2. And that's really the pair is because there's two things. The order is because this is x right here, and this is y. And x, y has an order like in the alphabet, right? The alphabet, if you're saying the alphabet, the x comes before the y, and it has an order. And that's the same thing with this ordered pair. We have a pair, we have two, and there's an order. The x comes first, and then the y. So let's talk about how that works. So over here, our x coordinate is 3. So I'm going to go to the x-axis. I'm going to start at 0. And I'm going to count on the x-axis, because that's what the x-coordinate is referring to, is 1, 2, 3. So it's positive 3, so it's going to go in the positive direction. So right here, the x-coordinate is referring to this spot right here at 3. Okay? Do you see that? Perfect. Now the y-coordinate is referring to 2. So the y-coordinate is the y-axis, and 2 is positive. So we would go up 2 units. So here we go, 1, 2. This is where y is 2. Now if I draw a line across here, and I draw a line across here, they meet right here. And that is where the point is. The point is here. That is 3, 2. So you go over, this is the x and this is the y. You go over 3 units, 1, 2, 3, and up 2 units, 1, 2. And that's how you plot that point. So in the next couple of examples, we are going to be plotting points. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and talk about the origin. The origin is the point 0, 0. Remember, there's an order. So this is the x and this is the y. Well, where is x 0? The x-axis, 0 is right here, right? So this is the x here, and this is the y. So x is 0 right here. The x-axis is 0 right there. Well, where is the y-axis 0? Well, the y-axis is here. The y-axis 0 is 0 right there. So it's 0 in the same place, so that's called the origin right there. That is the point 0, 0. Because the x is 0 and also the y is 0. So that's how you would label that point, okay? Now let's go ahead and look at a few different examples.